Sports.
Jesus Christ.
Cave Sports.
Jesus Christ. What's up, everybody? Jesus Christ, we're back. Sports, we're back. It's been quite some time, but the hiatus is over. I'm over here with Field to Burn. Zach, what's up, man?
Not much. How you doing, Jersey?
Chilling. And from the last episode till now, a lot happened in the wrestling world. And since basketball and football and some of the other sports that we talk about are in off season right now, we're going to get into the year-round sports, you know what I'm saying? Pro wrestling. And like I said, the two brands we like to talk about, AEW and WWE, had some eventful events these past week, the past few weeks. So we're just going to get into it. Before we get started, going to remind you to check out the website, cave.com, K4V3.com. We got blogs over there about sports on the sports tab. Just click it, 5P0RT5. And yeah, you can find the podcast over there and some merch. So let's get into it.
Yes, sir.
Starting with Forbidden Door. Man, I think this pay-per-view has finally solidified itself as one of the juggernaut pay-per-views that I genuinely get excited for. I mean, every match was a banger, personally. I mean, I don't know what the previous Forbidden Door was, but it wasn't this much of a heater. I don't think so. What do you think? Are you a well-versed Forbidden Door audience member of the wrestling world?
So, if nothing else, Forbidden Door gives the wrestling world the opportunity to see matches that they thought they'd never see before, and time to revisit some other matches that might have happened in the past that we get to revisit, which is awesome. Compared to last year's Forbidden Door, I feel like the hype was bigger for this one, and I think because we had more wrestlers on this Forbidden Door that weren't wrestling on the last one. And we had, another year of AEW building and growing. NJPW, is always doing their thing in New Japan. But with a few of these matches on the card, there was some serious hype going into this for sure.
Right. Man, like I said, I feel like each card was a juggernaut, and let's just get right into it. I didn't think the first card was going to happen. I don't know if this was the first match because I kind of tuned in a little later. And I was excited to show. Mandy and I were watching together, and she wanted to see MJF, and I thought MJF would be either the main event or the co-main, being that it was for the AEW title. But I missed it. Did you watch it? Tanahashi MJF match? I was in there.
Yeah, I ended up catching this one. I did not watch this one live. It's been a busy few weeks in the Burn household, hence why my hiatus has been a little bit longer. So I ended up catching this after the fact. I did my best to avoid spoilers, which actually went well for this event as opposed to other wrestling events in the past. This match was brought together, I think it was announced the week leading into Forbidden Door. And when it was announced, I was like, oh shit, we're getting MJF Tanahashi. Hell yeah, let's go. Yeah. My big thing with wrestling nowadays, or actually since I was a kid, was when and I kind of wish for Forbidden Door they didn't do this, because it would make the the outcomes more unpredictable. But when they said this was for the AEW World Championship, I was like, there's no way Tanahashi's winning this. Can't take it off MJF and then put it on Tanahashi, and either you're going to have your AEW championship in New Japan with Tanahashi, or you're going to have him be on AEW weekly, or you hot shot it back to MJF on the next Dynamite. So because of that, like the predictability of who's going to win, like that was out the door for me personally, so it took me out. However, I still was excited to see this match and see how it turned out. Word on the street is Tanahashi's a little banged up. He's getting up there in age, so he wasn't performing to his standard. But it was more of a slow-paced match. I think it under-delivered overall, but I'm an MJF mark, so anything he does is awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed this match, dude. It was fun to see MJF as the champ against a guy like Tanahashi just for the spectacle's sake. And for me, like the big thing about Forbidden Doors, that's what it's about. It's about the spectacle and seeing these kind of dream matchups. So I enjoyed this for sure.
Right. I mean, MJF, we'll get into it later with what he's doing right now with Adam Cole, but
oh my God,
he could turn anything into gold right now. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're wrestling someone injured, that is almost a relief for the injured wrestler, because it's like, oh, this guy's going to carry me to at least a 3-star if we miss some spots.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was a 3-star match, unquestioned. I think we have to temper expectations when we're talking about these Japanese stars like Tanahashi who have been around forever. But he's gold, like we said. He's almost. I think I'm gonna label him the King Midas of professional wrestling in 2023, because everything he touches is gold, man.
Yeah. Hard to say. Hard to argue that.
Yeah.
So moving on, we got, like I said, this is going to be a good one. We got Jabroni Jack Perry against Kanata. I don't know, man. I'm going to pan the camera over here. Actually, no, I'm just going to take this out. But, dude, I'm a fan, bro.
Hey.
I'm a motherfucking fan. Signed, too. So I met these guys, and these guys fucking suck, bro. Like, I was excited to see them.
Shit.
I bought the meet and greet ticket. And if you're listening, you know what I'm talking about, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. You guys suck.
Dang.
I saw you guys at Full Gear. Nobody was there. I was excited to see. I was like, you guys. I was like, you guys are my favorite, man. Like, what's going on? Where's Marco Stunt? You guys were awkward, even with each other. And I guess it came out that Jack Perry doesn't really like doing meet and greets. You know what I mean? Whether he's introvert and he just doesn't like that, I get that. But man, so let's get into it. Jack Perry, I feel like watching this. I watched this documentary on YouTube about Roman Reigns. I don't know if you saw that one. It's about how he was initially rejected by the fans because it felt like he was getting shoved down people's throats. You know what I mean? Everything they tried to do to get him over kind of worked against them, and it wasn't until he kind of started stringing along things that were genuine and real in his world into the storyline of his character. That's when it kind of started hitting, And it kind of reminds me of Jungle Boy. I mean, we spoke about it with the Playmaker on the podcast. I feel like Jungle Boy is kind of trapped in that prism of babyface, And I'm an avid lurker on some of these wrestling Reddits or subreddits.
Squared Circle. Shout out Squared Circle.
There you go, Squared Circle, baby.
Yeah.
And man, they're kind of on point. They predicted the Jurassic Express breaking up, which happened. Luchasaurus went heel. And they also predicted that Jack Perry would turn on Hook, which I think is a good rivalry for him to start off his heel or to kind of test it. You know what I mean? I mean, if this doesn't work, he's a heel against Hook if you're going to try to put Hook over.
Agreed.
But I feel like he's trapped in that Roman Reigns, everything is kind of corny with what you do. Even this heel move, I feel like was kind of not digested how they thought it would be.
So my thing that I saw leading up for this match and the build for it was the online and kind of like the off camera promos that they were having. They're taking shots at each other of like, oh, I don't even know who Sonata is. Sonata was like, I've never seen a Jungle, or vice versa. They were talking about how they didn't know each other and how each other were irrelevant. I thought that was a creative way to do it, even if it was like not on Dynamite or any other television programming, because it was on social media. That's good for wrestling nowadays. You got to take advantage of social media.
Hell yeah.
So I did not see the heel turn coming. So for me, it hit a little different. I was like, okay, let's see what we got here. And then the promo was it on, I think, the next Dynamite, where he was like cashing checks and banging the hottest ass in AEW.
Oh my God.
I was like, all right, Jungle Boy, there we go. Okay, a little bit of character.
Kind of agree though.
What works.
Kind of agree.
I mean, hey man, like more power to Jack Perry.
She's up there.
For sure. So in that sense, I'm gonna give him a long leash with this. Sometimes you don't know what a performer can do until they turn heel. And I mean, I guess that's evidenced with Roman. Technically, Roman came up as a heel with the Shield, but but when they decided they wanted to have him babyface, like they had some opportunities there that they could have turned him heel. They never pulled the trigger. Same thing with Cena, but Cena also came up as a heel too, so it's one of those things. But Jungle Boy, I don't think there's been any promotion that he's worked for or anything that he's done where he's been a full-blown heel, right? And the one thing I will say is if you're going to do something like this, you got to have a face that is beloved that he can go against. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not going to work. If you put him with the tweener, like it's going to fail. So him with Hook and them feuding I think is really smart.
I agree. And I think, like you said, too, the interaction between Sonata and Jack Perry, I think more of the audience were cheering for Sonata and kind of, planting the seeds for the Jack Perry heel turn. But I love that song, bro.
Oh, his theme? Yeah. Bro, gets the crowd lit, dude.
If they get rid of that, though. If they get rid of that, though, man, I'll be heartbroken. But
they have to get rid of it.
Let's full circle this. So he came out. His heel promo. He kind of was dressed up like Christian, turtleneck, jacket. I heard from the same caves that I hear rumors from that maybe him, Christian, and Luchasaurus get back together as heels, man.
Oh, eventually, huh?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Get a heel Jurassic Express with Christian in there instead of Marco Stunt.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I'm for it. I mean, you got to change your song though. You can't roll with the same fucking. That's such a babyface song. It's the same effect as this Chris Jericho song. Like you can't do the heel thing with a beloved song like that, where the whole crowd just doesn't give a fuck if you're heel or not because they love the song. Yeah,
for sure. Like Tarzan Boy is probably dead. So in memoriam, R.I.P. Moment of silence for Tarzan Boy. All right, that's enough. Hey, real talk, that song is lit though in the arena. I've seen 2 AEW shows, and when that shit hits, everyone's doing it, bro.
Bro, it's so embarrassing. I saw him at Full Gear, right? And I was pretty lit. And I was recording it. Obviously, I was singing along with it, fucking playing it back. I sounded like such a fucking fool.
That's why if you're gonna record a theme, you can't be singing it, or if you sing it, you can't record it. Lesson
learned, bro. Lesson learned.
Yeah, I have that same thing with Seth's song at Mania, because I had to record it just to play for my son, because that was at a point where he wasn't feeling Seth. And he hated singing that stuff. So when he beat Logan at Mania and I was filming it, I just saw the video the other day. I was like, Damn, I wish I wasn't singing to this.
Seriously.
So I feel you on that, buddy.
That's funny. All right, so moving along.
Yes,
Toni
sir.
Storm versus Willow Nightingale. So let's rewind back a little bit. I feel like this. So first thought that sprung up when I was watching this, was this supposed to be Mercedes versus Toni Storm?
I think so, buddy.
God damn, son. God damn, son.
I know. It's tough not to think with these matches and like with wrestling when this kind of stuff happens when like an injury, puts someone out of a match, and then you think, oh man, what we could have had,
Mm-hmm.
It's hard not to think that way.
Yeah, because I remember there was a lot of speculation, and then they finally, first they wanted to make it clear that Mercedes is with New Japan, not AEW.
Yeah.
But then they started using Mercedes in some of the AEW promo, so it was like kind of a leak, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now on this premise of maybe this was supposed to be Toni Storm versus Mercedes, was Mercedes supposed to take the AEW title off of Toni Storm too?
So that's interesting.
Damn,
I definitely could see a world where Mercedes doesn't get hurt in Long Beach and she wrestles in this match and beats Toni Storm. Yeah, I definitely could see that, and that's how she makes her AEW announcement.
Bro, I mean, just to get off this fantasy, last points before getting off this fantasy, Toni Storm losing to Mercedes, and then the fucking Outcast, is that what the fucking group's called?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Mean Girls or whatever the fuck. Them coming out and them kind of beating up Mercedes and tagging her up, and then kind of building the feud between Britt Baker and them just rounding them all up. That would have been epic. Too much star power, but I mean, come on, it's AEW, you got to just go out with a bang all the time.
Yeah, and to that point, is that why Trinity waited to debut in Impact until after Mercedes was hurt? Because if they were trying to build that with like Mercedes getting jumped by the Outcasts, she would need some friends, right? And then Trinity's right there, free agent.
Oh man!
So Trinity could have helped with that. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm with you, dude. Like my head goes there because All In is coming up too.
Yeah,
and having Mercedes on that card could have been big time.
I think
like Mercedes Trinity Jordan Grace against the Outcasts at All In, I think would have been a big women's match.
There's a lot of haters on Twitter about, as far as AEW goes. There's a lot of there's just accounts that are dedicated to hating on AEW.
Oh, for sure.
But Forbidden Door, like I said, man, made a statement as far as any doubters that don't think that they could put on a pay-per-view card that's legitimate, because like you said, I have no doubt about All In now. As long as everyone's healthy, you know what I mean? Who knows? It could. I mean, the CM Punk Kenny Omega match could just sell it out. Like, you know what I mean? If somehow the storyline leads to that, with Collision not really doing that well, so they rewrite the storylines to fucking do what they gotta do.
Kenny's doing that All In, yeah. But definitely, like, that's a storyline that was going to put asses in seats no matter what. Everyone wants to see that. So the fact that there was a possibility that Mercedes could have been in this match, and they pivoted to Willow Nightingale, both giving her the strap and being in this match, like, that says a lot about, in my opinion, AEW's ability to book these kinds of things, like these big cards, because this was still a good match. Like, even if you take the Mercedes stuff out of it, and then this is what we got, like, this was a banger, dude. This was good. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I was bittersweet because, finally getting over that fact and watching the match as it is, I felt like it was a good spot for Willow Nightingale to get exposure. I didn't want her to take the bump for Toni Storm. I mean, like, I knew that was going to happen, But by some miracle, I wanted her to kind of win to build like a rematch to another card, or maybe she can lose it on fucking Dynamite or something.
Yeah.
Or Rampage or some shit, or Collision,
Yeah, Collision. Yeah.
But I felt like it's cool. She got her shine in a big ass card, so I mean, it's a win for her, I guess. But yeah, it was a good match.
No, they keep showcasing Willow in a good light on AEW, so I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, like I said, the Toni Storm, I didn't follow her in AEW or in WWE. I don't know if it was WWE or NXT, but I knew she was one of the
WWE.
Oh, okay, I knew she was one of the marquee names for AEW, and
yeah,
I don't like the group, but I like how it's putting her. I like the spotlight that she's in because of this group, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not a big fan of the group, but I'm glad all three of them are doing something, and I like all three of them individually. So I'm not a big fan of them working together, but like you said, like it's still giving them shine. They're still getting their spotlight. So, and that's what those three wanted. So, as long as they're happy, that's cool.
Right.
But Tony was a Triple H, kid, I guess you can say. So I think if she would have waited it out a little bit longer, she would have enjoyed what would have been coming her way. But I don't blame her for not digging what she was doing, because they kind of put her in a shitty spot when she came up. It was like the last of like Vince's stuff that he was doing. She had that like little feud with Charlotte or some shit. It was not good, but yeah, I'm a big fan of all three of them, so just not a fan of the group yet.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I mean, if they're heels, you're supposed to be kind of annoyed of them, right? So I guess they're doing their thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Yep. CM Punk, Satoshi Kojima. You know what? I'm excited for this CM Punk heel turn, man. I feel like it was a long time coming. There was leaks of it during his first AEW run, towards the end of the MJF feud. And seeing him kind of play the heel against the crowd during this match was pretty cool. Pretty cool to see.
Yeah, so the one city that you're not going to get full-on heel CM Punk is Chicago. But that being said, it's not going to ever stop him from, living the gimmick and working the heel route. Not gonna lie, glad to see CM Punk back. I might be one of the few, but he is to me, with the business hat on, he makes a lot of sense of being back with AEW, and I think AEW should have done what they did to bring him back. I know he was hurt with the triceps, but if they could have brought him back any earlier, I think they would have. I'm a big proponent and pusher of the idea that, adults need to act like adults. And when you got money on the line and potential money that could be out there, you got to find a way to make it work. So I am definitely on whatever side of the fight is that gets them able to work together, them being Punk and the Elite. Because there's a lot of money, I think, that could be made with that kind of feud. We touched on it earlier. Him and Kenny, I think, could sell out or could headline that all-in card if they chose to go that way. I think it's too soon for... that's just my opinion on it, which is a shame. But for this match, Punk versus Kojima, I like this match. I was enjoying this match. Again, glad to see CM Punk back. This being part of the Owen Hart tournament too, that's cool. We're getting Punk won this match, and it led to we're getting Punk versus Joe this Saturday on Collision, which should be good. I don't think Punk has ever beaten Samoa Joe either, so that's going to be interesting.
He's going to, bro. This guy is not going to.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the GTS reversal in this to the Kojima cutter was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The Koji cutter. But GTS 1, 2, 3, that was always the finish in my opinion with this match. So again, happy to see CM Punk back and excited to see where this run takes him.
Perfectly segueing to the potential matchup with Kenny Omega. Let's talk about Kenny Omega's match. The fucking
Jesus.
epic 101. Is it potential trilogy between Will?
That's why
Ospreay?
I don't think Punk and Omega's happening. I think we get number 3 at All In, and that headlines. If that's
Not mad at
that's
that.
my guess.
Not mad at that. Bro, like, they don't even need to make this like any kind of an Iron Man match would be, like J2 said, there's only certain rivalries where you could make an Iron Man match. I feel like this warrants that.
This,
you know what I mean?
This feud for 2023 is currently the headliner, or the front runner for feud of the year. I don't know if it's going to get topped, dude, to be honest with you, in any promotion. And we could probably go back a few years now and put these two matches and the potential third one up against any trilogy of matches between two guys or between two teams, or even, in any promotion. This one somehow topped their first match, in my opinion. This is my current favorite for match of the year. The whole Don Callis aspect of it didn't bother me. I saw that it bothered a few people.
Yeah.
Didn't bother me. I like Don Callis. Didn't used to like him now. I'm just blown away by these two, man. The fact that I stood up, or I stayed awake
Me
to
too,
watch their
bro.
first match in New Japan, bro, to watch Wrestle Kingdom, and almost didn't fall back asleep because that match was so fucking good. Pardon my language, but this match, that first match was just otherworldly, and then this match just this was the one thing I was hyped for on this card the most. This was one of those that we're excited to revisit that we've seen before, and thankful for an event like Forbidden Door to be able to give us this match. My God, dude, these guys know how to fucking wrestle each other, dude.
Man, it was such a high. It was weird to have a match after this. You know what I mean? I was kind of exhausted.
Yeah. And I know WWE used to get shit a lot. Especially in recent years before they got good, before Triple H took over. But they used to have this all the time, where they would have a mid card match in the middle, a match in the middle of the card that was you should have had that in the main event.
Mm-hmm.
This should have been the main event, because it's going to be hard to follow because of who you've booked together, not realizing what they can do when you give them, 25 plus minutes. Just absolutely incredible stuff, dude. I could watch 10 more matches between these two and probably never get bored, and they'd probably still find a way to surprise us.
So yeah, I heard the Don Callis spot being criticized by people, and you know what? It's storytelling. You know what I mean? It's what differentiates the first match from this match, because
exactly,
it's the little details that sprinkled that makes the story progress. So maybe something changes in the third one. You know what I mean? Maybe they're both baby faces, and it becomes all right, I either passed the torch or I'm still here type of thing. Because that's what I like about this rivalry. You know what I mean? It's Will Ospreay trying to take the torch from Kenny Omega. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And kudos to Kenny for, I think, being willing to give it up too.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious that if anyone's the person that's worthy of that Arthur sword, it's fucking this guy, bro. You know what I mean? But you gotta wait, buddy, because right now Kenny's on his run. I feel like this is Kenny's run as far as the greatest times of his career right now. You know what I mean? Because low key, he's taking his time with each feud, and he has a lot of opportunities, and he's not rushing through them all. You know what I mean?
And I don't think he's re-signed either, him or the Bucks. So he might be in his bag, trying to give everything that he has for AEW, because he's about to, maybe ride off in the sunset and flip brands, or flip companies. That might be something to look out for. I like I said, I haven't seen any reporting on if they re-signed or not. I just haven't heard that it was confirmed that they have. But if that's the motivation for him to put on these matches and for him to, hand it off to Ospreay, more power to him, and it's incredibly fucking classy. So I do think for a while there, he put a lot of focus on Fight Forever, because that was like his passion project, was to make a wrestling video game. I think that's been said a few times. And then when he got hurt, that's all he was doing, So him being able to get fully healthy and make this comeback run since he's been back, like you said, this is his run right now. And these two matches with Ospreay have reminded the wrestling world of exactly who the hell Kenny Omega is.
For sure.
I had to correct myself too. It wasn't 25 plus minutes. This motherfucking match was 39 minutes long. Incredible. Man. They were beating the hell out. That Tiger Driver, the Ospreay to Kenny, brutal.
Oh man, I was scared.
Brutal.
I was scared as fuck. I didn't know it was a move until I looked it up, bro. I'll be honest. I was like, was that supposed to happen? And I was like, shit. And I saw a tweet of Kenny saying that, yeah, man, we planned that spot, and it was to create that, shock factor in an already intense match. So
yeah,
let me give him a standing ovation, bro.
yeah. Fantastic professional wrestling took place in this match. So looking forward, I do think match 3 happens at All In. You get the match 3 of the trilogy. It's the rubber match. Ospreay's in his home country, which I think added to the shock value of this win, because Kenny was in his home country. Or no, it was this was Toronto, not Chicago.
Yeah, I think so.
This was Toronto, right? Yeah, so this was in Kenny's home country. So I misspoke earlier about Punk being in Chicago, but that was for Collision, where he definitely wasn't going to get booed. But for Kenny losing in Canada, that shocked me for sure. I thought Kenny was going to win this match, and then Will would get his win at All In. So it just builds more intrigue for All In now, because they booked it once where the home country dude lost. So who knows what's going to happen at All In if they do decide to do the third match there.
So 2 things I want to talk about before leaving this topic. One, that fucking kick out of the One Wing Angel. Oh my goodness.
We might be talking about kickouts a lot tonight.
Yeah, for sure, man. Oh my goodness.
That was beautiful, dude.
I thought that was it. I
know.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Those are the best kickouts.
Man, Canada, is there a country that's been fucked by the wrestling industry more than Canada?
In the sense of for booking decisions?
Yeah.
Probably not. Canada's probably up there, dude.
So funny, man.
Ospreay pulling out his mid-90s Shawn Michaels of with the flag.
Yeah, that
fantastic,
too.
Dude. So good.
Yeah.
Probably not, dude. Canada gets kind of. Sammy got a little. He got the shit out of the stick in a sense. Earlier this year in his home country of Montreal. Or his hometown of is it province town? I don't know. Canada's weird. But in Montreal he got screwed in a way. That was the right decision. I'm sure I'll be saying that again later in the show, but Canada kind of gets the shit into the stick. So they've been getting some love though recently with some big events. So shout out Canada. We love Canadians. So.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Their events are 5-star. It's just they book the winner against the crowd. You know what I mean? And
I think Cena beat Edge in their trilogy in Toronto, when they had when they were in their shit in their feud. Cena lost in Boston and then Edge lost in Toronto.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah, Canada. Yeah, I mean they will always have what is it, the Calgary Stampede, whatever that was. So there's something in the
atmosphere. There's something in the atmosphere during those like high stakes matches in Canada when there's their hometown guy too. You know what I mean? It's almost like, I don't know. It might be PTSD, but
maybe we do a deep dive on professional wrestling in Canada with like match results and stuff like that.
That'd be funny. That we should note that.
That's definitely interesting to think about for sure.
All right, moving on. Like I said, it's hard to top this match, but Bryan Danielson versus Okada. You couldn't make this one a short match, but I felt like it went on a little longer than it did. But I did like the finish. You know what I mean? I like the style of the match. Yeah. It was very New Japan-ish. You know what I mean? Very grinding, Bret Hart-ish. What else? Mr. Perfect match kind of type-ish. You know what I mean? Very technical. Yeah. And I like the submission ending. It kind of left me. It left me with a weird feeling, like that was it. You know what I mean? It kind of kicked me into the same shock value as like watching an MMA fight where, you don't see the tap and then someone taps.
Yeah.
But that's what makes fucking Bryan Danielson, man. He's a technical, you know what I mean, realistic fighter. And I did like the variation of holds he did, and then learning that he did that to compensate for, I guess, an apparent injury.
Dude,
I like
pretty nasty injury too.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had a forearm break in the middle or towards the end of this match, which might have been why it was so abrupt. Looking back after the fact as to why. When stuff like that happens with wrestlers of these caliber, it usually boils down to like some sort of injury or something. I was shocked that Okada tapped. Did not expect that at all in the finish. Kind of thought Okada was going to win, if we're being honest. But happy to see Bryan Danielson get a win. I think I've said it on this show quite a few times. But, when is Bryan Danielson going to get his big win in AEW?
Yes.
And it's never with the title.
Yes.
So him making Okada tap out, we will have to take that as a dub for those of us that are on the side of when is Bryan Danielson going to get his big AEW win. So,
seriously, man.
Great match, dude. I think the general consensus is under-delivered, and sure, that might be, to a point, might not have lived up to expectations. I think it's safe to say it was not the best match of the night, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a banger. So this match was enjoyed by me for sure, and like I said, Okada tapping out, did not expect that. So I always, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to enjoy something that I didn't expect in pro wrestling.
Would have been a good match. A better received match before the Ospreay Kenny Omega match. You know what I mean? A technical match by two big names to set up the fucking rivalry match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think it would have been. I believe the match before this was against Sting, Darby, and Naito.
Naito. Oh, yeah, there was that match too, right? And I think
that was right before this one.
The Black Combat Club versus the Elite.
That was before Tony Storm.
Oh, okay.
And Willow. Yeah, that was like the mid-match main event or the mid-card main event, and then Ospreay and Omega.
So to wrap up Forbidden Door, do you think if there's a title match, do you think? I mean, to me, I think the title matches should be your main event because it's a title match, right? What do you think about that? Do you think the title matches should always be main event, or?
Historically speaking, yes. but I think the context plays into it. So I don't think MJF and Tanahashi could have lived up to that, especially with what else was on this card, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So in this circumstance, that definitely shouldn't have main evented. Now, whether or not you should have booked somebody else with MJF, because the title should be in the main event, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
And I don't think you would be wrong in arguing that. Historically speaking, the main event should be either one of the top champions for either promotion. And I don't think the New Japan Championship was defended here. So with the AEW Championship being defended here, you wouldn't be wrong in saying that. But for that match had no business. It wasn't better than Ospreay Omega or Okada Danielson.
There were talks of him not even wanting to fucking do that match anyway, so I don't know if that was like, he last minute just said, fuck it, I'll do it. Or it might just all be a work. MJF. Yeah,
that's the best thing about MJF is you are either working yourself into a shoot or you're shooting yourself into a work, so he knows how to blur those lines perfectly. That's why he's so great. That's why he's better than us, and we know it, dude.
Yeah, he is, baby. And just to cap off the fucking AEW recap, this match is pretty cool.
Gold,
and, I feel like Adam Cole's return was kind of a turbulent return. You know what I mean? With the controversy between, first of all, the shirts, the Britt Baker shirts, and them going so hard with that almost borderline domestic violence scene. I don't know, man. I have to say, I love Chris Jericho, and like I said, we were talking before, like Trish Stratus, which we'll talk about later. I feel like her best days are ahead of her, and might be right now. But I feel like Chris Jericho, man, everything he's doing is pretty cringe. Best thing about Chris Jericho right now is his entrance song.
He had an interesting promo this past Wednesday on Dynamite with Don Callis. I like that.
Okay.
But with Adam Cole's return, it almost felt like he got cleared. So Tony was like, all right, he's on TV. And then didn't really have a plan for him. So now, though, like fast forward from when he came back and like to now, complete 180. This match that they had with MJF, this went to a draw, right?
Yeah.
Time limit draw, which I'm not a fan of, but it worked.
Seriously.
And what's come from it is the blind tag team championship eliminator tournament, bro. Like, this is gold, baby. Like, this shit is
literally
awesome, dude. Their weightlifting segment that they had on Wednesday.
You know what it reminded me of? This reminds me of the random team up of The Rock and Mankind, and it
Rock
just
and Sock, yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? This is perfect.
Dude, they almost had the same segment too, with like the birthday. Like, it wasn't like This Is Your Life, but it was like their own style of doing a birthday celebration, which was fucking perfect.
I usually hate I usually hate the musical segments of MJF, but this birthday song wasn't bad, bro.
He got into that, bro. He was like, he channeled Marilyn Monroe singing to JFK, bro, when he was singing Happy Birthday. This was awesome.
Baby.
Like, my son was playing video games and he like paused it to watch this segment. Like, shout out to these two for making some TV magic. This was awesome. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if you're a WWE stan or an AEW hater or whatever. This was fucking awesome, and I hope that they keep this going. I personally, if I'm booking All In, I'm having these two guys beat FTR at Wembley.
Oh my fucking god, that'd be so dope. That'd be fucking dope.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, they're the champs, right? They're not just the ROH or the AEW champs too.
Pretty sure they're AEW champs. And like, if you're not gonna have a challenger for MJF, like if you're not building a challenger yet, go have him win tag team titles. Have him have 2 belts.
Mm-hmm. Also, like we mentioned earlier, if you're injured, right, or you're coming back, it's a relief to be working with MJF because he can carry you. So,
oh, for sure, dude.
To ease him back, I feel like. I mean, look at the smile on Adam Cole's face, man. He is loving every minute of this, and he's
legitimately had fun with this
publicity on his streams because MJF is hijacking his streams and all that. So, man, right now, also like we said about Kenny Omega, MJF is doing his thing. I feel like MJF is in his. If he's The Rock, he's in his SmackDown phase. You know what I mean? Where
and here's
spotlights on him
too with this.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
Spotlights on him, and he's kind of gets to exercise and exercise creative freedom with his character.
Yes, 1,000%. He definitely has creative freedom with his character, and he's doing what he wants to do. He's having fun. He's enjoying himself. I also think there's an avenue they can take in this and do a double turn, like coming out of this tag team if they wanted to. If they want MJF to be a face, this is how you do it. You have them tag together, and then MJF is actually buying in and like legitimately like he gets lost into like the being friends with Adam Cole, and Adam Cole reverts back to his old ROH ways and like just being a dick, and he turns before MJF gets a chance to. You know what I'm saying? Like he smells it coming, and he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna get him before he gets me," type of thing, and does it too early, and that's how they would lose the tag titles, and it would make MJF the heel, and it would make Adam Cole the heel, and MJF would be the face, and that's how you make your next baby face.
Yeah, that's a
like,
good
and he
path.
would. It's like what they're gonna do with Roman down the road. You can already see that coming, but like.
For sure.
When you have a heel that is getting cheered and is getting the reactions that he's doing, you got to flip that and you got to turn it into a baby face. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a way that they can do it down the road. But for now, keep this going. Let this ride almost until the wheels fall off.
Just to cap this off, I love this segment, and I do think a tag team title for these two would be epic. But my only criticism with this is I feel like it leaves Roddick Strong in a weird place.
Yeah, that is a good point. He got taken out last week, I think.
Samoa Joe beat him, right?
Yeah, Joe beat him and had him in the Kojima.
Mm-hmm.
No. Karafuda clutch. I think that's what it was.
I think CM Punk was commentating, right, or something.
Yeah, and he had it on for too long, and I think Roddy was selling it. But I mean, you could have. I think Kyle O'Reilly's hurt too, but like, I mean, that's how you bring them into this. So there's a lot of ways that they can take, or there's a lot of avenues that they can take with this storyline. But for now, like, keep the focus on these two. Make sure Roddy gets healthy. Make sure Kyle O'Reilly's healthy. And then you can reunite them with Cole and be a heel faction. And MJF will have to find some friends, which would be another interesting thing to see him do. Because he's been hated for so long. But if he's genuinely being a face, like that would be interesting to see him looking for friends. But yeah, I want this to last for long. This is one of the best things AEW's ever done.
Prediction, and you heard it here first. If that does happen, that storyline unfolds, I do think we see a reunion of Wardlow and MJF, but as faces.
Ooh.
That'd be crazy, right?
Interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Cave prediction, sports prediction.
There we go. Yeah, we're gonna grab that.
Switching brands. Oh man. Shit, let's get into it, bro.
Yeah, so this one I watched live. Money in the Bank happened July 1st, O2 Arena in London. First time they went overseas for a PLE, and I think Cena said 20 years. Spoiler alert, Cena showed up. Awesome. This was another solid PLE that WWE has put out. They have not put out a bad PLE this year. This is they're just consistent. They've been so consistent from Royal Rumble till now. Through now, even like Raw was awesome. And then tomorrow we got SmackDown, we got Bloodline stuff going down on SmackDown. That's going to be fucking awesome. Yeah, Money in the Bank was dope, top to bottom.
Yeah, I actually watched it live too, and I don't know if we're gonna get into it in order, but let's just get into it. First of all, this spot right here with Logan Paul and Ricochet. Sheesh, fucking scary spot, right? I mean, watching it live and seeing the landing on the ropes. How fucking good is Ricochet, man? He did not mess up, low key, right?
No. Well, kinda. So word on the street is the spot that was supposed to happen was a springboard Spanish fly. Which to me, I think means they were supposed to land on the ropes, springboard into a Spanish fly onto the tables. Which, to me, why even attempt that? That's unnecessary.
There's some AEW.
You could have found a different. You could have found a different way to do a Spanish fly onto these tables. It didn't have to be off of a ladder. Could have just fell from the ladder onto the tables, Dudley Boy style, dude. WrestleMania 17. You didn't have to do all this. That being said, crazy. The recovery of that botch is one of the all-time great recoveries of a botch ever.
Yeah, that's just some WWE shit right there, man. That's what separates the two brands, I feel like. So, and keep this in mind. This is Logan Paul. You know what I mean? This isn't fucking like Ruby Soho. You know what I'm saying?
This isn't. This wasn't. This wasn't Ricochet and like Chad Gable. This was. Yeah, like you said, Logan Paul, one of the most popular people in the world, especially on social media. Like my favorite thing from this, and this is a little bit of foreshadowing and a little bit of getting into Raw. They had a video that they played on Raw that after this event was over, I think after this match specifically, these two were brawling backstage, dude. So Ricochet then invited Logan to show up to Raw next week for a face-to-face, which I presume is going to lead to a SummerSlam match between the two. And sign me up for that.
I'm torn, man. I do want to see it, but we know what's going to happen. Might as well have El Vikingo guest referee, bro. Come on now.
I will say, nuts. Yeah, if they get anything close to 20 minutes, they're gonna make the most of it, and it's gonna be awesome. Like you said, Ricochet is the MVP for this because of his way of saving that botch. I have full faith they're gonna put on something nuts between the Rumble spot and now this. Yeah, buddy, sign me up for this. I'm excited for this match.
It's gonna be nuts. But also in this match,
should be fun.
Well, first of all, just to recap this spot, I initially thought Logan Paul was going to win this one. I heard in the caves that Logan Paul was probably going to win Money in the Bank, which I actually agree with, because being a part-time per diem wrestler, you know what I mean? It gives the excuse of coming in and being relevant every time you appear on the show because you're the Money in the Bank winner. You know what I mean?
That's
fair. I thought that actually this botch might have led to an injury to them changing the winner to who the winner ended up was going to be, which we'll reveal later. But segue into the next clip, I thought that my second pick was LA Knight, man. This guy's super hot right now,
Yeah.
The finish looked like he was about to take it, but as you can see over here, they went with Damian Priest, and was probably my third pick because I thought they were going to give him back for the Bad Bunny match, you know what I mean? And seeing how it plays out with the Finn Balor storyline, I fucks with it. It's cool. I like how the pieces are playing out, you know what I mean?
This is exactly why WWE is hitting right now. Because this was your third choice to win, and you fucks with it.
Yeah,
because they've been doing some building around the other parts in this very well, or well enough to where it's like, all right, I trust that they're going to do something cool with this. Even though the fans wanted LA Knight, even though probably the people crunching numbers wanted Logan Paul, like Trips was like, nah, Damian should get this. Like, we could have Finn win the heavyweight title, and then you got a rivalry there inside the Judgment Day, which was a group, by the way, a year ago people were shitting on, and now they're getting love. You got Rhea as the champ. Dirty Dom is getting the most heat in the business right now, or up there with Don Callis. And now you got the Money in the Bank winner, and Finn is always a main event guy. So shout out to WWE, man, for building around like the main focal points that they've usually just been focusing on. Like, it's not, we're going to talk a lot about Bloodline, and there's a lot of love that should be given to the Bloodline story and all that. But there's other stuff that's working well too, and it's not like cringe anymore,
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
And the way Damien performed with Bad Bunny, dude, the biggest music star on the planet right now, like, I don't hate this at all. I really wanted LA Knight to win because I'm a big fan of LA Knight, and I like how he's organically gotten over. And me being a big Bray Wyatt mark, but also understanding that not a lot of people come out of feuds with Bray Wyatt looking great. Like, LA Knight looked even better, and was one of the very few who has ever feuded with Bray Wyatt that has looked better after it than before it. Even despite all that, Damien getting the win, cool with it. Like you said, I fucks with it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we'll get into it later when we talk about Seth. They wasted no time, man. They got right into it, which I thought was a surprise.
Boom, instantly.
I thought they'd milk it. I thought they'd milk it a little bit,
we'll save. I mean, we'll get into it, like you said. Yeah,
we'll save it. Going over to the Shayna Baszler and Majin, fucking
Majin Ronda.
Jeez,
what a shocker that was, man? Huh?
Who okayed that,
dude,
bro?
Audible gasp. Hold on, for the record, audible gasp in my house for my wife when Shayna turned. She was like,
"Oh yeah,
what?" And then she was like, "Oh man, we're getting Ronda Shayna. Let's go!" She was stoked.
I was confused. I mean, it broke the pattern, the wrestling pattern. You know what I mean?
Which
because this was kind of just in the background as far as I was watching it, and then I saw the turn, and it was very like a primal turn. You know what I mean? I felt the emotion through the screen.
Also, the third time Liv has pinned Ronda. I hope that doesn't get lost. Like, that's kind of a big deal.
Damn. Yeah.
Right?
Shout out Liv.
Third time, Liv Morgan, dude. She went from her own little social outcast feud with Ruby and Valhalla back in the day, and now she's cashed in on Ronda, pinned her twice, won 2 titles from her. Shout out Liv, dude. But this turn, I thought was going to happen in a few months from now. I thought they were going to give Shayna and Ronda the love and like building the prestige on the women's tag team titles. But the fact that they're able to do this, turn them on each other now, and have faith in Raquel and Liv to be the one to put those prestige on those titles, I think is a big move, and I think it's going to pay off.
Yeah, I heard that prediction. I heard that this was Ronda's path out of WWE. So
yeah, I heard that too. And she's going to give her friend the rub on the way out, which makes sense.
That'd be cool. Cool way out.
Shayna deserves it, man.
Who okayed this fucking outfit, bro? Not a
the Majin Buu?
Yeah.
I don't even know if she is a fan of Dragon Ball Z, dude.
It just, I mean, we'll talk about it on one of the next slides, as far as paying homage to some comic book or anime characters, but come on, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
the Scouter
threw me off.
Probably threw me off more than the turn.
Definitely threw me off.
It's funny. Speaking of throwing you off with surprises, John Cena came out. I was surprised. after his entrance in WrestleMania with the special children. Super duper fan of this guy, man. That was really cool to see. And
oh, you like that, huh?
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, dude, you and me have a special place in our hearts for
Hey boys.
Yeah,
hey boys.
Taking it back, bro. But
boys.
I have a special place in my heart for those people. So seeing John Cena like kind of hit home. But WrestleMania in the UK, like we said in the podcast, or like we said earlier, before we got onto the sports podcast, I thought this was kind of retaliation to AEW All In, right? What do you think about that?
Retaliation? I don't think so. Getting some shine from AEW going there? Definitely. Getting a little slice of that pie that's, going to be hot right now in the UK with wrestling. Because, AEW, I mean, for all the things that people want to say about AEW, they're about to put 70,000 in Wembley, which I don't think anybody would have thought they could do, except for like the hardcore AEW fans. But yeah, they're definitely they know what's going on. And by they I mean the higher ups WWE. They know what's going on with AEW. They pay attention. So them pushing for Mania in London, I think, is a legitimate thing. But they also, from what I've read, WrestleMania gets bid on by cities, and whoever's gonna bid the highest, WWE's gonna go. It's a business after all, right? And I think Cardiff, if I'm not mistaken, outbid London for Clash at the Castle, because there was talks of them going to the UK, but they just didn't know where. And then Wales was like, "We're gonna outbid whoever. Like, what's your price?" And they bid and they got it, and that's why Clash at the Castle was there, as opposed to Wembley. Zero doubt in my mind that they won't sell out Wembley for 2 nights. They'll probably be able to put close to 180,000 people in there over 2 nights. And that's going to happen sooner rather than later. Word on the street is there might be an announcement soon that SummerSlam next year will be at Wembley, and then Mania either a year or 2 after that at Wembley over 2 nights. But Triple H in the press conference did say that it is hard to do WrestleMania overseas, but a PLE we've now seen twice has been fine. Like you said, we both were able to watch this live. A 2 p.m. start time for us on a Saturday, not bad.
Bro, even the fucking the Saudi cards, like I've been able to catch those live too, which I kind of prefer just getting them out of the way, like, during the day and the weekend.
I like Saturday PLEs now. I used to all be about Sundays. I'm down with Saturdays. So
me too. I agree.
Yeah. Shout out Grayson Waller with this promo. He held his own. Got a lot of rub. Maybe they have a match at SummerSlam or somewhere else, maybe Survivor Series or something in the future. But yeah, this was a surprise. I almost dropped my dishes that I went to go put in the sink on my way to the sink, because this was in between matches, and I was like, "Is that really John Cena's music?" It's like this commercial. Right. My son was like, "Dad, Cena's here," and I was like, "Oh shit!" So
I thought he was gonna wrestle.
For them to have a surprise.
I thought he was gonna wrestle.
Let me do the AA, but yeah, he did not. He was dressed to wrestle. You clearly see he maybe could have.
Yeah. Moving on, we got, like I said, the women's Money in the Bank match. Becky Lynch paying homage to Phoenix from the X-Men. Love the outfit. Instantly recognized it when she came out, and I was like, I fucks with it. Good shit. Yep. Man, her outfits, man, even that Kill Bill outfit that she wore, she might be my favorite women's wrestler, like hands down. A women's wrestler, not even like a diva, you know what I mean? I think she embodies like the archetype of how a female wrestler should. Her Charlotte Flair too, she's up there.
Yeah, I mean those 4 horsewomen definitely got that nickname for a reason. She's very cognizant of the outfit she wears. I think her choosing Phoenix specifically, obviously the red hair, same kind of thing, same kind of complexion, but also she's never won Money in the Bank. So with her having to rise on the ladder to grab the briefcase, I think, you know, like Phoenix rises, like that was good little symmetry there. Don't know if it was intentional or just speculating, but that's the parallel I drew. See? I hope she comes out and says that. That would be great validation for me.
clip this and tag her.
Yeah, right. No, the outfit was dope. I felt like her part in this match. I didn't think she was gonna win. I thought she was one of the favorites, but at the end of the day, her and Trish are building something special. Like you said, Trish is in her bag. Might be her best work she's been doing, or she's done in her career, because now she's with a different group of women's wrestlers who wrestle and like are doing it differently than what she came up initially with. So that being said, you know, I felt like her purpose in this match was to keep pushing and building that feud so they can get their one-on-one rematch at SummerSlam. So mission accomplished, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? My main takeaway from this match was Trish Stratus is all in. Like she's really about it. Which I
was about to say she's about it.
I thought she was one of the main front runners of the shift in the diva movement. You know what I mean? But man, she's doing her thing right now, and more respect to her during this run than the initial run, I think. But a lot of spots in this match, you know, hard not to talk about this fucking Code Red, man. First of all,
dude,
Zelina's been on a tear. El Vikinga has been killing it.
La Vikinga, for sure, bro. La Vikinga, the WWE. Dude, short out in Puerto Rico. I know she got kind of squashed at the end, but she held her own for a little bit there. I love before this spot, she pulled out the chancla to smack away at Zoe. Yeah, I put her down a little bit. And chancla's no joke, bro. The chancla is no joke. And then she went through with the spot, nailed it. Nailed it in the sense of obviously it was protected, but also looked like they both ate it, like how they were supposed to. Destructive. I will say they might not want to book ladder matches in London anymore, because those motherfuckers don't break. I think this one was supposed to break. Logan Paul had a spot on a ladder earlier in the match, probably should have broke. I think
frog
Trish
splash
broke her
on
nose.
Damian Priest, right? Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I think Trish broke her nose on a ladder. The frog splash on Damian Priest, was another one. And then the 450 by Ricochet onto the ladder, that didn't break. So those ladders in the UK are no joke. They mean business out there. So if I ever buy a ladder, I'm gonna make sure to make sure it was made in London, because those things are sturdy. But yeah, that spot was nasty, dude. One of the greatest women's ladder spots of all time.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like what spots,
it was Zoe and Zelina, dude. That's
what as far as what spots make it on the highlight reel, as far as like the intro for, you know, a show or like a montage or something. This has to be up there for a women's montage.
There were spots in both matches that are going to be on those promos to Money in the Bank matches in the future, ladder matches in the future, and individual highlights for these performers' careers, for these wrestlers' careers. They're going to have spots that are going to be on their highlight packages. Like, when you go back and think about it, in both matches, there were tons of them.
Right. I mean, the handcuff spot was pretty hilarious.
Genius.
I have to say.
Genius.
Yeah, I mean, and let's talk about the
genius spot.
Let's talk about the winner, Io Sky. That moonsault from the ladder. Oh, so fucking clean. So that's what makes WWE, man.
It was clean, right?
Their moonsaults are just like 5 stars, man. 5-star moonsaults.
Yeah.
And look at this picture, bro.
She proved the picture's great, dude. Io proved why she is the genius of the sky, as they call her. Io Sky. I like how they switched because it wasn't Io Shirai, now it's Io Sky. Apropos for sure, her winning this ladder match. She was my pick to win. I think you have a built-in feud if she cashes in on Asuka, where that they could carry that
for sure,
that title and that division for the SmackDown brand. Even with Charlotte there, and even with Bianca there, like there's some story to be told between Asuka and Io for sure on the main roster. So there's a lot of meat on that bone. Mad props. Just again, this London crowd, incredible. You can see everybody behind her do arms up. There's a dude over here in the bottom left, like just thanking God. Like these guys over here in the UK are just they showed out, man, for sure. They deserve everything coming to them. Same with the Canadian crowds. Sorry, Canadians, again, that your hometown favorites kind of fucking lose there. But it's all right. It's going to be fine. You're going to get better events down the road. Same with the UK. Io Sky was the right winner for this match, in my opinion.
Like I said, Io Sky was the winner, but my MVP was Trish Stratus. I mean, you try to take care of the legends coming back, but shit, if they're the ones going all out, like, let them, you know what I mean?
She goes ham in matches nowadays, dude.
Yeah, she does, man.
She was taking bumps in this match that were just absurd. And then the match she had against Raquel, I think last Monday on Raw, she got messed up, dude. Like, she was taking, I was like, what? Like, how is she not going to be, like, how is she not hurt after that? And she's fine. She comes right back up. It's still just, she's putting her body on the line for sure. She's having a blast, I'm sure. But she's just MVP stuff right here from her. And she brought back the face mask, which was awesome.
Right. Yeah, like I said, she's a legend coming back and probably wrestles more than Roman Reigns. Puts in more time than Roman Reigns does right now. I mean,
might have.
Probably not, as far as like match length goes, but as far as, weekly goes, I feel like she puts in more consistent time than Roman does.
She might. She maybe has had more matches than Roman Reigns this year. That's crazy to think about. Crazy to think about.
Moving on to, like we said, kind of ties into the men's Money in the Bank match. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor. The new heavyweight championship belt ended up being awarded to Seth Rollins, who I feel like is a good representative of the belt right now. It's crazy to think that everyone from the Shield right now are champions. Well, I guess Jon Moxley lost the AEW title, but
he is a champion in his own mind. This dude he's on a side note. That dude is living his best wrestling life. I think he's loving what he's doing. So,
and spoilers. I heard might become the New Japan Championship champion soon. So we'll see if that happens. But yeah, like we said, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor. First it was AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins, right? And now it looks like Finn Balor is
for
next
the inaugural winner. Yeah,
but Money in the Bank winner Damian Priest, who's in the Judgment Day with Finn Balor, came out to just take a look real quick. But Finn Balor didn't like that. So, like I said, it looked like they were gonna do some, inner beef between the two, but I didn't know that they were gonna pop off this fast. They wasted no time.
Yeah, I equate this to when like you throw a steak into like a lion's den at the zoo. The stake here is, the World Heavyweight Championship, and the Lions being, Damian and Finn, and now one of the Lions has a free stake card that he can cash in at any time to get his own stake, bro. So like, he might want that stake. You never know. And Finn knows it, which is great awareness by Finn, obviously. But he took his eye off the ball, man, and got caught up with what Damian was doing. He had the match won, and just Damian kind of was like getting a little too close, And Finn had to check him, and then the losing, got a curb stomp for it. But then on Monday, Finn returned the favor because it looked like Damian was going to be cashing in on Seth in the main event, and Finn came out to get some comeuppance on Seth and inadvertently knocked Damian out of the ring, which thwarted the cash-in attempt. And then Dominic got a curb stomp to end the show, which was just always a pleasure to see Dom get his ass whooped. And that's not a shot at my own son, who's also named Dom, but that's always fun in my house right now with Dominic Mysterio getting booed. It's hilarious. I make jokes all the time. So
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Dude, WrestleMania was hilarious when I was marking out for Ray beating the heck out of Dom with the belt. It was so funny. My son was looking at me side-eyed like, what Dom are you talking about? But no, so this is where we come back to, just circle back on Damian winning. Why it's interesting is because you have this now. Finn being in the main event picture and Damian also in the main event picture because he holds the briefcase. Creates for some interesting dynamics here within the Judgment Day that we haven't seen because they've been really tight for the past year. So this definitely adds some spice to this feud. I mean, to this group, into this stable. So I'm that's why I'm cool with Damian winning. We get to see some fun storytelling.
Yeah, it looks like they're going with the implosion and the beef between these two because it wasn't mentioned over here, but we'll talk about it. Cody Rhodes and Dominic Mysterio had a match, and Dominic Mysterio lost, but somehow got a title shot against, or got a match against Seth Rollins, right?
Well, that's because Damian told Seth that, like, someone to, like, when they were standing in the ring, it was Damian and then Rhea and then Dom, and Damian was like, someone to my left might want a match, and Rhea was like, well, I'm already defending the title against Natty, and then Dom was like, all right, I'll fight Seth. Kind of thing, which was hilarious in itself because it's like, Priest is talking about, I mean, to us, he's clearly talking about Dom and the Rhea answers, so it was like super funny.
Yeah.
So Dom, lost and then got a match against, Seth. But I do want to say, speaking on that Cody Dom match, I thoroughly was convinced that Brock was going to interfere and cost Cody that match, and Dom was going to walk out of London with a win over Cody, which I think should have been the move.
That would have been epic. He needs a win. He needs those wins, you know what I mean, against top names to build up more heat. And
it feeds into that kind of like that shit-eating, like him being the sneaky heel that steals wins and is slimy and gets booed, and it would just validate those boos even more. He would have got booed out of the arena too, and so would have Brock, and which then in turn gives Cody more cheers. So that's what I thought they were going to do, but they ended up having a hot start on Monday Night Raw with Seth Lee coming out to start Raw, and then Cody come out to challenge him, and then Brock interrupts. That was a really hot start to Raw, so we're going to get Brock and Cody 3 at SummerSlam, which I'm fine with. But yeah, Dom definitely should probably get some wins here soon.
Yeah, Dom, as much as I'm a fan of X-Pac, Dom is kind of X-Pac Road Doggy kind of style, where he's just kind of, you know what I mean? He's just taking L's. I think that would have been a power move for him to get a dub over Cody. I
know, and it wouldn't have been a clean one either, so Cody doesn't get hurt.
That dub alone and then continue the losing streak is enough for him to talk some shit. You know what I'm saying? Dom's doing some awesome stuff right now. He's getting booed. Like I said, every arena, every town they go to, he's the most hated man there, which is awesome. Because it's like the exact opposite of what his dad has experienced in his career of being beloved by everybody. So Dom just getting absolutely shat on by every crowd is hilarious to me. And he's a Mysterio, so he always has a face running him down the road. So, but him still feeding into that ex-con Dom shit is hilarious. I was listening to a podcast today,
I think it was the Masked Man show, and Kaz on that show was talking about how, because there's an NXT storyline with Stax and Tony D'Angelo, and Tony D'Angelo is locked up right now, and he was saying like, how cool would it be if like Dom shows up on the other side of that phone talking to D'Angelo through prison, and like Tony D's like, yeah, I hear about you all the time back here. Like they got Dom, they got your name, everyone knows about you. You got your cred back here or some shit. And then Dom's like, yeah, I know people. I was like, that would be fucking hilarious. You just like intertwine these like NXT storylines with the main roster, and then that's how you get the familiarity with them. But that was a pretty smart way to, like, if they decide to weave that in. But we had to cap off Cody Dom. Like, that match wasn't much. The crowd singing the entire song of Kingdom, for Cody Rhodes was epic. Yeah, not really much to talk about with that match though.
I was explaining to Mandy though, because Cody has that same entrance song, and in AEW, and watching that Roman Reigns documentary I was talking about on YouTube. I think it's like the Truth of Pro Wrestling. You guys should check it out if you're listening.
Okay. I'm gonna check it out.
It almost feels like it had that same effect, right? Like Cody was kind of being forced down the AEW audience, and they just weren't buying it. And but you play that same entrance music with a WWE crowd, and they fucking love that shit. There's never a time, even when he comes out in press conferences, when that song hits, everybody's singing that shit.
Yeah,
you play that song. You play that song in AEW, no one gives a fuck. People probably go get popcorn around that time or use the restroom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
now,
crazy.
like, if he went back to AEW, they would sing it, but they weren't singing that shit when he left.
That's true. Right. It might be a Chris Jericho like moment.
Yeah, they were not singing that. They did not want him around because to me, he was never like an indie guy. Like, his name was too big, like his dad put in enough work for him to be WWE through and through. But he had to prove to himself that he could do it, and he did it, and he helped create AEW and accomplish so much. And so that way, when he came back, it was like, okay, this dude is legit, and that's, ever since he came back at Mania 38, like, everyone knows he's legit. He's back to where he belongs. This is what he should be doing. His promos were always WWE style in AEW. That's why a lot of AEW fans hated it. He was too polished and like clean, and cadence was never interrupted. Like, he wasn't raw. Like, there's a big difference between him and like Eddie Kingston,
For sure.
And for the AEW crowd, like, they will always love like Eddie Kingston over the Cody Rhodes type of like wrestlers in terms of like, especially with promos, with the promos on the mic. So I don't blame him. It's like, it is what it is. But he's definitely back where he belongs, and I think it's no question that he made the right decision.
For sure. I'm happy for him. I mean, you go where you're appreciated, right? And you happen to be appreciated in the biggest fucking promotion or brand in your field, so works out for you.
Yeah, that feud.
I mean, just goes to show you that. Yeah, that's for sure. But just goes to show you the difference in the fans and audience, right? Like, it's so polar. The polar opposites of each other. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy.
All right, man. The storyline I'm the most invested in, and honestly, kind of broke my heart, man. We'll talk about a lot of these things, but bro, what a crazy! If it ended like this, oh my fucking god! But this picture sums it up. What an epic spot, bro! What an epic spot.
So we were talking about kickouts earlier.
Oh yeah.
Very few times in my wrestling life and like fandom can I remember marking out to a kick out as much as I did with this one. So like the build to this match though, like it goes without saying, top notch. But then the actual build within this match, it was super slow to start off. They were really playing the crowd, which was smart.
Mm-hmm.
But the crowd was hot for this. The chance of if you hate Roman, stand up. If you hate Roman, stand up. And then he sat down. He was like, I don't even know why we come here, Paul.
Yeah.
Like, these people are idiots. Like, why? I'm never coming here again. Blah blah blah. And then they chanted, like, because he sat down and chanted, "If you hate Roman, sit down." So like they were messing with him the whole match. But the little story arcs that were built within this match, I think it's a common theme with Roman matches since he's been back on this run, where he tells a story within these matches, and he's doing it at a very high level. When he tagged himself in when Solo was in early in the match, that was like the first sign of like, oh, that's interesting that he did that, you know, because he doesn't believe. On Friday, I think there was the thing about talking to more like the Usos were like, you know, Solo should be the tribal chief, and Roman laughed. Like his initial reaction to that was just laughter, and Solo looked at him like, "Why are you laughing? The fuck?" Yeah. And so now to tag himself in on Solo and like tell him, "Hey, Solo, no, like I'm tagging in," type of thing. Like it's a good little dynamic and good little tease for some tension between those two, even though Solo proved his loyalty.
So that documentary I mentioned talked about how initially Roman Reigns was like this explosive powerhouse.
Oh yeah,
sucked on the mic though, and was like no one really bought it other than those spots, you know. And so a typical Roman Reigns match would be kind of Goldberg like, where they're just these powerhouse spots, and then you get the spear and the finish, right? Yep. And what makes him one of the best is the fact that now the gems and the highlights of Roman matches are everything in between those spots now, you know, like you said, just interacting with the crowd. And one of my favorite spots, I don't have a screenshot for this one, was when Roman was starting to break and lose it and cry, and Solo just looked at him like, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah. I was getting there. Because that happened after this spot right here.
Yeah.
That happened right, like that face that he's making right there.
But before we get there, was this caused by that Samoan Spike spear combo?
Yeah, because they did that too.
Move. What a fucking epic move, bro!
Yeah, because Roman had Solo spiked Jimmy, and then pulled Jay up to spike him, and then like looked at Roman like, "You gonna spear him?" And then Roman was like, "Yeah." And then he like hit the ropes, hit the spear, spiked him, and then Solo pulled Jimmy over, put him on top of Roman, and it's on the right. And then Solo put Jimmy on top of Jay, and then Roman went for the pin. And then we got that picture of the kick out.
2K Sports, I need this updated moveset, bro. I need it. Please.
This spike spear.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, dude, that was gnarly, dude. Definitely would have been the end of the match, but Roman's ego, because he said, I'm gonna smash him, I'm gonna spike him, I'm gonna stack him, and I'm gonna pin him. His ego got in the way, bro. But yeah, so going back to that kick out, and then Roman like losing his mind of like, what am I gonna do? Like what do I do now? Yeah. And then Solo like walked up to him and he was like, "The fuck?" And just instantly went ham on beating up on his brothers, like. And then Roman was like, "Yeah, all right." And then he joined in too, and then obviously the end of the match happened. But like you said, I caught that too right away when he looked at him and he like his face changed. He was looking at him and then his face changed. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. Beautiful storytelling, because it goes back to that whole like Usos saying that Solo should be the tribal chief, and then Roman laughing.
Yeah.
And then when Roman's sitting there beside himself because he doesn't know what to do, and Solo's like, "Oh, I know what to do because this is what I'm built for." That was good. A good little callback and a little further tease into their dissension that I think is going to happen down the road.
There's been seeds, because it wasn't a Raw or SmackDown prior to that where Roman bumped into Solo and they kind of like looked at each other, and Roman was like,
"Yeah,
my bad."
Yeah, that was the SmackDown after Saudi, I think.
Man, and then this pin. I mean, I know you caught it on Twitter of, was it Roman Reigns saying "I love you" to Jay as this was happening? Yeah, supposedly. I couldn't. I'm pretty good at lip reading. I didn't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I haven't been looking. I haven't looked for it since I heard that.
Mm-hmm. But geez, you said it, man. You think Cody losing to Roman was the right choice, and like I said, I think it's gonna end how it started. And I mean, I think we spoke about it on a previous sports episode. This is how I thought it would end, unfortunately. But who knows? Like you said with the MJF thing, I think Roman rides off to the sunset, rides off in the sunset as a babyface. So maybe a turn, a babyface bloodline would be epic with a reunion of The Rock, Rikishi, and just, the last time you see all of them, that'd be fucking amazing.
So after this match, was the first time that I was convinced that Roman pinning Cody at Mania was the right call. First time since that match. I've always thought like, man, maybe Cody should have won. But I was like, no, because this wouldn't have meant as much if Cody had won. If Cody was the undisputed Universal Champion right now, and these guys were just fighting because of the bloodline, this wouldn't have meant as much as it does now. And you can see Jay's reaction too. He knows it. Like,
and Jimmy, bro.
I mean, sorry, you see Jimmy's reaction in the background. Like, he knew what he was watching. And like, this solidified Jay to me for the first time as main event Jey Uso, not just a saying, but like, all right, give me this at SummerSlam. Like, Roman, Jay, one-on-one for the belts at SummerSlam. I can now buy in and believe in that match. So I hope we get that at SummerSlam. But like you said, further down the road, I think the ultimate thing to come out of this Bloodline storyline, because it's not going to end for a long time, but then like one of the next phases coming up is Roman, after a long hiatus of just losing the grip as the tribal chief. He has to go back to the island and sit there for a few months and think about what he's done. And he's going to come back in a big spot and save the Usos and return as a babyface. And it's going to be epic, dude.
He's going to come back as Samoan Jesus, bro.
Yeah, this is Roman's Hollywood rock phase, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Everything that comes after this, he's always going to be a babyface after this. Once he turns back to babyface, he's always going to be a babyface. Solidified, stamped, sealed, done. Like how The Rock, whenever he comes back, he doesn't get booed. He always gets cheered. Same thing's going to happen with Roman. But how long that takes, I hope it's not like around the corner. Like, I want this to happen like next year, like after Mania when he loses it all. I want that. Like, I want him to lose everything before Mania, and like all he has is the titles, and that's where like Cody, whether he wins the Rumble or the Chamber, is like, I'm gonna take the last thing that you care about. I'm gonna take your titles, and he takes them at Mania, and then Roman goes away, and then comes back like SummerSlam 2024. Something like that.
Yeah, I see it. I see it unfolding similarly. But what I like about this picture is, first of all, first time Roman's been pinned in forever.
3 years.
Second of all, it happened in a tag team match, so it doesn't really count as a singles pin. You know what I'm saying?
Bingo. Yeah.
And it's a tag team match, and these are the best tag team. This is the best tag team ever. You know what I mean? So I don't care if you're Roman Reigns. I mean, that's the storyline, right? That's the storyline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, KK.
We can save that for another day, bro.
Yeah, we'll deep dive into that one.
There's a lot to go into that one, but that's a good topic.
But if you want to talk about, I mean, your specialty, the Usos are tag team specialists compared to Roman Reigns and solos, individually. So the storyline is very multi-leveled, and these guys, I mean, like the documentary said, the way that it's multi-leveled and it kind of weaves into reality, and like that thing that the interview with Ariel Helwani about the Usos' dream is facing each other in WrestleMania, because it's it's the living room shit, it's back in the day shit. bro.
Oh yeah,
this was back in the day. Shit, this was all your cousins and fucking Money in the Bank, bro. That's like fucking Thanksgiving or someone's birthday, and like,
I know.
we go up to the room and shit.
These guys get to think back to when they were kids and they were just messing around, beating each other up like for fun, and like they got to do the same thing in London, sold out crowd, packed house, and at the end of the night, the fans were singing their song louder than the music was being played, bro. When was the last time you heard about that happening, dude?
Yeah.
If you go back and listen to this, that entire crowd was louder than the speakers in the arena playing the Usos theme songs. Nuts.
Yeah, I don't know. Canada and the UK, their fans get it. You know what I mean? I know J2 was talking about like certain locations he likes wrestling for because there's certain places that pop for like arm drags or just chest slaps compared to like you got to do a fucking code red onto a ladder off another ladder kind of pop.
Yeah, like that didn't need to happen in London. London would have still popped for like a bulldog off of the ladder.
Yeah, exactly right. Or like chain wrestling.
Yeah, but when you give them stuff like that, they're gonna love you forever for it.
For sure.
Also, the interesting thing, I don't know if you caught at the end of this match when they were done showing the replays, Jimmy went to go like pick Roman up or like go get him out like from outside the ring and be like, come on, man, like we just beat him, like he's still our cousin. And Jay was like, nah, let him stay there. I don't know if you caught that, but go back and watch that. I think that might play into some stuff in the future.
So to cap off this Bloodline segment, is this the tribal chief?
Yes.
My thing about Solo is, first of all, he was sent by the ancestors, right? So there's already a mystical origin in him, and I don't see him. I mean, not to judge Solo. I'm a big fan of Solo, but I don't see him outside of this enforcer character. You know what I mean? I see him having a run with Paul Heyman at his side. I think Paul Heyman being his mouthpiece for him and him just being the powerhouse that he is works perfectly. I don't see him outside of this character. You know what I mean?
So, he is no longer the enforcer in my eyes because of how he acted in that match and how he was the one that brought Roman back into the match and like realigned his focus and made him get back into tribal chief mode. To put an ass whooping down, even though they lost. But that's the next phase is Solo turning on Roman and him being with Paul. And then, maybe Solo gets his run when Roman's away. Solo steps into the role as tribal chief and him and Paul get to run with it for a couple months. Whether or not he turns between now and WrestleMania or if it's after when Roman comes back. But it's coming, dude. Solo. Sheesh. And he's young too. I think he's in his early 20s.
Yeah,
so he's got a long time in front of him, dude. Like he's still super young. People were saying when he showed up at Clash at the Castle that it was too early for him. That was the right call. Again, shout out Triple H for making that call. But yeah, dude, he has a bright future ahead of him, and I think it's going to happen within the next year where he breaks off of Roman, or within the next 6 months, actually.
One thing I really like about Solo, too, and not a lot of wrestlers do this nowadays because of like podcasts and social media, is he keeps kayfabe, man. He kind of keeps his character outside of the shows. So, last of a dying breed, man.
Yeah. So I misspoke. He's 30, but he's still like 30 in wrestling nowadays is still young.
Yeah.
So he still has a long future ahead of him.
Oh man, Bloodline. It's gonna be interesting.
Greatest storyline of all time, right?
And it's not over yet, bro. You know the crazy thing?
Greatest storyline of all time, hands down.
I showed my nephew the Bloodline, and we started with the War Games. And dude, I miss the Sami Zayn Bloodline era, bro. Like
that was hilarious.
There's certain eras of the Bloodline that stand out and that you miss, but it doesn't take away from where it's at right now in the storyline. Like right now, you can argue that it's
long
peak.
That they have eras.
Yeah, it's just fucking. I was introducing him DX and how I thought the DX was one of the powerhouse tag teams or stables, which we can get into another episode. But it's hard not to argue with the Bloodline.
It's been a magical run. I think, for as long as we've been doing wrestling recaps on here, I think even when we first started talking about this stuff in Bloodline, even back then there was a case to be made that this storyline was like the best that has ever been in wrestling history. And it's just gotten better. And each time that you think that, like, oh God, it might be running its course, like something new happens. You introduce Sami Zayn, and then you got that whole tension with him and Kevin and all that going on, and then boom, Sammy's out of it. Now where are they going? Oh, Jimmy messed up and kicked him in Saudi, and then Jay aligned with him, and now we're here. Like, we're about to get the Mad King version of Roman Reigns, and it's going to be awesome.
Also, we talked about long-term storytelling too. Like the fact that you could just have Solo take the place of, like, be almost like a, place marker for Roman while Roman does his thing and come back and still keep the story relevant. You could go any way you want. Fucking epic.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like one of those Goosebump stories we used to read where like you like can flip to page whatever if you pick something, and then like oh damn, that's tight, and then you keep going, you make a decision, then you flip to the next one, and it's like, yeah, that's how this feels, dude. Like there's so many options.
That's funny. That's a good way to put it. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this episode up. Damn, deep dive on wrestling, bro. An hour 41 of just wrestling. It's crazy.
Two crazy events that came, that were put out for us over the last week, man. So thanks to AEW and WWE for being able to give us stuff to talk about with wrestling, dude.
Yeah, it was warranted.
It's getting hotter.
It's warranted. I can tell people, man. If you're like me, you've kind of been relevant in wrestling kind of throughout, but me, I kind of tuned out around like mid Ruthless Aggression era. It's a good time to come
me
back,
too, man. A little bit.
It's a good time to come back. Like it caters to all fans of wrestling. I feel like, you know what I mean? All eras of wrestling, and there's so many palettes of shows now that fucking AEW has like 8 different ROH New Japan. Fucking pick one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, freaking WWE just had Maxine Dupree do a suplex on Monday Night Raw, and it got like one of the biggest pops of the night. So that just tells you how hot wrestling is right now, dude. It's crazy. Suplex got a pop.
It's crazy.
Absurd, dude.
Check us out, guys. Just to wrap things up, we have our watch along coming up July 29th. We'll be live commentating or watching the Errol Spence Terrence Crawford match, and I think most of us from the cave will be here to watch it. So tune in July 29th. We'll probably be live on Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. So we'll see you there. Check us out at cave.com, k4v3.com. Cave Sports, 5P0RT5 on Spotify, Apple. Just Google it. You should be able to find it. Zach, it was fun, man. Catch you on the next one.
Hey, catch us on Threads too, right?
Oh, yeah, we're on there now.
We got Threads. Hot topic. It's called Threads.
Definitely. Brand new app, and we're on it. You know what I mean? It's another
I'm sure.
Another entrance to the cave through the thread portal.
We'll be talking about that on a future podcast. So, thanks for having me again. Obviously, always love talking wrestling and sports. So, let's do it again. Until next time.
Hell yeah. Peace out, guys. Later.
Bloodline.